When one thinks of tennis, the mind evokes images of grass courts with bleached white outfits scampering around at a posh country club. When one thinks of tennis, it is of the loud grunts or many of the age-old controversies surrounding the sport. Tennis, unlike other sports, is widely misunderstood. Here, I will make the case that professional tennis is the most physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding sport in the world. Like most other sports, the primary challenge of tennis is the supreme physicality to play the game at a high level. In professional tennis in the last 15 to 20 years, the courts have slowed down, making the game a lot more physical. And as Roger Federer remarked, the older generation, before 2005, are used to the faster courts. But from around that time forward, there has been a major switch in professional tennis. Also, the racket and string technology has improved, allowing players to have long rallies from the baseline, thus increasing the demand of the cardiovascular system and the lower body muscles. This relatively sudden change in technology has impacted the way that the game is played, making tennis more physical. Another aspect that is drastically overlooked when looking at top tennis players is their physical strength. In tennis, it is expected to be able to run multiple miles of stop-start sprints, lunges, and agile movements, which are incredibly difficult to sustain. And as Jay Berger, a U.S. national coach, says,
"You've got to be incredibly fit. You've got to have great fundamentals. You've got to be a great competitor. You have to eat properly. Now that's a big movement now, eating exactly the way you're supposed to eat. And really, your life really revolves around your tennis."
This is an ESPN documentary from the Nadal-Djokovic final at the Australian Open in 2012. This clip was at the 5-hour and 23-minute mark of the match.
Djokovic hits the deck. Absolute torture and a standing ovation. And at 15 love. Unbelievable. Some guys who redefine the boundaries of what's physically possible on a tennis court tonight.
Nadal bent over.
Two guys that absolutely refuse to surrender.
To be successful in modern tennis, you need to have a good serve, move well, and develop a weapon. To be able to consistently hit forehands and backhands at an average of 75 miles per hour, you must develop strength and precise motor skills throughout the body. On average, a tennis player is expected to hit 500 shots per match, which is astronomically more than any other sport. The variety of shots that players are expected to hit are enormous. Serve, forehand, backhand, return, volley, and overhead are just the basic ones.
Brilliant! Oh, they're on their feet, and deservedly so. What a point!
The amount of time tennis players spend in the gym has increased in the last 15 years, and now players are more conscious of how strength and alternative practices help them succeed. In tennis, elite players have been rapidly transforming their nutrition plans and conditioning routines to optimize their performance on the court. Tennis, more than other sports, requires a tremendous amount of practice due to the fact that athletes must stay in good shape and maintain flawless technique for each individual shot.
It's on the line! They thought he'd done it a couple of shots ago.
As this analysis from Sky Sports explains, players like Novak Djokovic are fundamentally changing the way tennis is played, making it more physical than ever.
If we just take a quick look at Novak's movement on this forehand, on this pass. Terrific serve here from Shardy. There's the return. But again, Marcus, if you can remember the other day when I was talking about the backhand and we talked, I said, how many steps do you think you need to get? Well, this is another case in point. When we watch tennis, we're thinking at this particular point, when you look where Novak is and you look at the ball, which is sort of heading in this direction, you're thinking to yourself, he's probably got 2, possibly 3 with a shift step out wide. Now just run it on and just look at Novak here. There he's landed with his front foot here. And let's just take a look at what happens. I mean, honestly, has anybody ever moved better than this guy? Just keep looking at Novak. Don't worry about the ball at the moment. I mean, look at the slide. So he has now taken 1 step to cover that distance. But not only that, he's actually been on balance as he's taken it. He's whipped this one, as you can see here, back across court. Shardy's a little slow picking it up and he's a bit late coming in. He's not going to get there. But the most amazing thing about Novak, apart from that, is look at this. I mean, he's on his way. He's going to probably pick up whatever Shardy was going to hit anyway.
Tennis demands exceptional hand and foot coordination, coupled with agility and balance, while not sacrificing strength and flexibility. This combination makes tennis players some of the most well-rounded, fittest athletes in the entire world. The reaction time needed is absurd, especially when dealing with the greatest servers. This is not evident when you watch on TV. The very pinnacle of tennis players, think Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, or Rafael Nadal, are some of the most impressive athletes on earth due to their tremendous racket skill paired with their athleticism in all areas previously mentioned. This overall athleticism is underrated in tennis. To prove this fact, tennis is truly a sport for all body heights and body weights. Tennis players range from under 5'7" to over 6'10", just in the top 100. Having personal experience, seeing and training with some of the best juniors in the United States, tennis players are groomed to be extraordinary athletes, starting from a very young age. One of the main reasons why people underestimate tennis players is the angle of the camera. If you watch high-level tennis in person and close up, it almost looks like a different sport. The emphasis on footwork, movement, and rotation is not understood from watching from a high angle. The camera angle of most tennis matches makes the sport look deceptively easy, and masks the amount of running that tennis players must endure each point. Mentally, tennis is the most ridiculously challenging activity when performed at a high level. Part of this difficulty stems from the nature of the scoring system, with no time limit and strange occurrences such as the derivative of the Simpsons paradox, where the player will win more individual points than their opponent, yet still fail to win the match. These factors make tennis one of the most daunting mental battles, both with the opponent and the player himself. Due to how small the margins are in the game of tennis, move your racket half an inch forward or half an inch back and the ball will spray wildly out, it can be maddening to cope and manage your emotions in such a complex game. This is one of the reasons why tennis players show so much negative emotion that would be unheard of in other sports. Many of these frustrations also stem from the astounding number of decisions a tennis player is forced to make, often referred to as shot selection or shot discipline. This can be one of the most challenging aspects for many players. Most touring pros who can afford it have psychologists to work with them and develop strategies to combat these frustrations and difficulties. In men's tennis, there is no coaching during match play and basically no extended breaks longer than 2 minutes in matches that can last upwards of 5 hours. All of these circumstances compound an already stressful situation and force the mind to bear all the weight of each mental calculation during a match. In addition, at the lower levels of professional and junior tennis, players are forced to make their own line calls, often out of sight of the referee. Having your opponent, who is trying to beat you, call lines is detrimental at best. This presents yet another unparalleled mental hurdle to overcome and provides an extra step of difficulty to get to the pinnacle of the sport. Another unique aspect about tennis is the different surfaces and conditions players are forced to play in throughout the year. Especially at a professional level, players can be forced to compete with different types of balls, weather conditions, and surfaces all throughout the year. The change in surface is probably the most unique to tennis. The 3 major surfaces that are common are hard courts, clay courts, and grass courts, all requiring different playing styles to suit each surface best. A variety of different court pace indexes, also known as court speeds, also affect the way that the game is played. Though there are plenty of outdoor sports, not many of them are subject to the elements like tennis. Wind, sun, temperature, humidity, and precipitation all affect tennis matches and specifically the movements of the ball. Tennis is such a difficult sport to play well in due to the factors that make tennis so challenging. In tennis, there are no substitutions or timeouts. If you are playing bad, it is all on yourself. This is one of the many reasons why it is so easy to lose your head in tennis. In other sports, it is unheard of to show the type of outbursts that are regular in tennis. Travel to any level of competitive tennis tournament and listen to the agonizing screams bouncing from one court to another, or the muted tones of tennis players talking to themselves in between points. Additionally, a difficulty compared to most other sports is the off-season, or lack thereof. Tennis players endure a grueling 11-month season, with tournaments almost every week. Another difference is that there are no contracts for players regarding these tournaments. Unlike, for example, American football, each player must earn the prize money with specific match wins, not including sponsorship deals off the court.
That is spectacular. Boom!
Finally, one of the most disturbing parts of tennis is that most players who are professional forego their college education to tour the world and play tennis. This is a testament to show the amount of practice required to make a living off of the sport. Athletes have become so specialized in the modern sports arena, yet tennis is above all in skill, physicality, and will on and off the court. Tennis is the most versatile sport in the world because it couples creativity and physicality in a blend that is awe-inspiring. My hope is that people will appreciate tennis for what it truly is, and tennis will grow as a sport in the coming years.